Well, we had some technical difficulties, and we're back now. So we'll just talk about our last topic, which is MLB Frenzy. We'll talk about this right now and then we'll head out. So obviously, the MLB. Um, we got the MLB free agent signing. You got Bo Bichette to the Mets. You got Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers. You got Ranger Suarez to the Red Sox. But you also had some big time trades. You had some trades to where, yeah, he did mess everything up. He ended the stream because I guess he couldn't hear us, so he ended the stream, and sadly, that's just how that was.
Well, we're back. We're back. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So we got the trade that happened last night. Pretty late for some people. That Freddie Peralta is headed to New York. I know Brewer fans were in love with Freddie Peralta and what he brought to their organization and what he brought simply just to winning those divisional titles. And as a Cubs fan, good riddance. But I want to talk about the return because a lot of people were talking about they should have gotten Nolan McLean or Carson Benj, and they thought at least one of those two. You weren't getting one of those two, sadly.
I mean, those guys were untouchable. The Mets have one of the best farm systems in all of baseball, and I still think we got a decent enough return on our investment there. I mean, Tobias Myers was the other throw-in piece, which for most teams he's not a throwaway, but he was not cracking our rotation this year.
No.
And we left him off the playoff roster because we didn't think he had a spot in our bullpen either. Like, his role this year, he did a very good job of it, was just to eat innings when we're up or down by a lot. And he did a good job of that. But with how this rotation is coming together, I don't really think he had a place in it. And Freddie, I think a lot of us, from a fan perspective, it hurts a lot more because when you look at it from a baseball perspective, he had 1 year left on his contract. The pitching market is insane right now. And we were just going to get outbid next year, no matter how much we offered by the Dodgers or the Mets, for example. They're a good team that would probably just spend the house on a guy like Freddie Peralta. It's another arm to add to the rotation. There's just teams that were going to spend more money than us and have more money than we do and would have poached him. So I think from a non-fan perspective and a business perspective, this is exactly what I thought they should do and exactly what they ended up doing. So I can't be that mad about it.
Yeah, I can't be mad about it. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, as a Cubs fan, I think it was a great move for them personally because they get two pretty good prospects in return. I believe Brandon Sproul I thought he was going to be up and down this year with the Brewers. I mean, not the Brewers, with the Mets. I thought Jet Williams really didn't have a chance or really have a prayer to make the Mets' roster. In my opinion, I just didn't see that happening because of the position he plays. He plays shortstop. They got Lindor. He plays second base. They got Marcus Semien now. And he plays outfield, but now they got Luis Robert and Juan Soto and right, so who's maybe left field, maybe, but they weren't for the trade Vientos or something like that, or McNeil. You know, they're gonna put McNeil probably out there. So it's like he really didn't have a spot on the Mets lineup or the Mets positions. And Brandon Sproul had the same kind of thing. He was gonna crack. I think he's gonna be number 5, I believe, for them. But now that they got Freddie, they're pretty good. They're set up well. I think they got Freddie, they got McLean, they got Tong, and I believe they got Luis Severino, I think.
No, Luis Severino, I believe, is on the A's right now. But yeah, they have someone else. I just can't think of who it is.
Yeah, I can't think of it. But
the Mets could be a very formidable team next year. The depth has improved a lot, especially in the rotation. They had a lot of injuries last year, pitching-wise, and kind of fell apart. That was a big reason why they fell apart down the stretch was Ryan Helsley was not what they needed or what they wanted him to be, and the starting lineup was just so battered. They weren't really able to win games. But going back to the Brewers side of this too, I think the clear goal here is to contend, like truly contend for a World Series in 2 or 3 years. I think they understand right now that they're still a decent ways off with the roster that they have. But a lot of those young guys, Logan Henderson, Jacob Mizorowski, I mean, in the pitching staff, you have those guys. You have a bunch of flamethrowers in the bullpen. Aaron Ashby is still under contract for like 4 more years. And then in the lineup too, you got prospects coming up sooner rather than later. Later, Jesus Mate is going to make his way up. I think William Contreras after this year is probably also on his way out. Jefferson Cuero is going to come up and take his spot. Obviously, Jet Williams is in the mix now. If you can find a way to keep Sal Frelick and Bryce Terang around, I mean, I think baseball also needs a salary floor, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, they need a floor. No, I don't think they really need a cap, but they need a floor where
I think they need to have discussion.
Having 100 or $90 million payrolls. That's ridiculous.
They need to have a discussion about it for sure, because I think there is a point, the Dodgers, where it gets to be too much. But I mean, like I said, I think the Brewers window truly opens in a couple years. We're going to see Craig Yoho probably get some more consistent action for the Brewers. I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor McGill is moved this offseason still either. But, I mean, we'll see.
You could probably add the Cubs to that team with that powerhouse too. They have like 7 arms that they can really.
I mean, the Cubs have a lot of upside this year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Adding Alex Bregman is very good for them.
It was wild that they beat the Dodgers. They won the season series against the Dodgers.
My question is for the Cubs is like some of those guys that had good years, like Matthew Boyd, is he going to be able to replicate that again this year? Jameson Taillon going to replicate his second half performance last year again? Like Justin Steele coming back obviously helps. Trading for Cabrera helps, but are some of those other guys still going to have the performances that they did last year? Like Matthew Boyd was an all-star. I don't see Matthew Boyd being an all-star, but you never know.
The thing about Boyd is he doesn't need to be an all-star this year, I don't think, because now that you see the emergence of Cade Horton, you're going to bring Steele back. You're going to have Edward Cabrera. That's 3 arms right there. And then you got a lefty in Shota Imanaga who's looking to bounce back to give a reason to why he deserved that qualifying money or that money he got that he opted into sign his qualifying offer. So I don't think Matthew Boyd needs to be an all-star next year, but I think he'll have another productive year. So will Taillon, I believe. They're not going to have to be asked to do so much next year that they did this year, that they will have to do next year because they have some real arms to use now. They have some real bona fide, you could say, aces that they will have. I mean, the ace of the staff is still Justin Steele until further notice. But Cade Horton is very close. But
I mean, I would already put Cade Horton in that spot specifically because Steele has just been injured so much.
Yeah.
We don't really. Well, the thing is, too, about injuries, they can be unpredictable. His velocity might not ever get back to what it used to be.
It could be, yeah. I mean, right now, just because of the way it is, a healthy Steele is their ace until probably you see more emergence of Cade Horton. Obviously, Cade Horton had a great year last year, but he needs to replicate that again for me to say he'll be the ace of the staff. We've seen Steele put up multiple seasons to where he's been very productive, had 2 all-star campaign seasons. One, we actually went to the all-star game. So he's had about a couple great, he was really the arm we leaned on after like 2019 and up. After that, that was really the arm we really looked at the most. So I can't really take the ace reins from him until I see more from Horton instead of just 1/2 of the season or 1/3 of the season, I'd say.
I want to ask you something because you have the Cubs fan perspective on this, and I've seen a couple of things about it, and I think it's really stupid, to be honest with you. Nico Hoerner getting traded. Do you think there's any smoke to that, or am I just like seeing? Because I think it's nonsense, and you guys would be idiots to do that. But I just wanted to know your perspective.
I think it's just people that just want to talk, just create headlines, create news, get clicks. Because that's pretty the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. You trade your Gold Glove, 300 hitting second baseman for what? Like What are you going to get in return to put at second? Matt Shaw? You've seen how he was last year. There's no need, right? That's why they got Alex Bregman. So why would you put Matt Shaw over Nico? That's just it's just smoke. There's no way that they're going to do that, especially when they're trying to contend too. They're only saying that because he's on a 1-year deal, and the way the Cubs' philosophy is, or they move players before they have to pay them, and that kind of player, he was homegrown. He was an integral part of the lineup. He had to be. He had 2 seasons to where he hit over 270. Like, there's no way you're going to sit up here and tell me that you're going to trade that away for what JP Crawford? Like, no, it's not going to happen.
I want to say that I think it's stupid too, and you guys would be I'd be dumbfounded if you did something like that. But I think
lose a lot of fans if they did that.
I think, honestly, your X factor this season could be how well PCA does at the plate. Because we saw first half PCA was at an MVP level, mashing 27 home runs by the time the All-Star break hit. And then the second half came around, and he fell off a cliff offensively. He still played really good defense, but his offense just tanked. He didn't do much at the plate. He had a couple big hits in the postseason, which I'll give him that. But his regular season performance in the second half was just not it. I just don't know whether he's truly a superstar. He's streaky. I can't tell at this point.
What I'll say is that to me, I think the X factor is Dansby Swanson. Because I know what I'm gonna get from PCA. A lot of swings, a lot of emotion, great defense. What he did offensively last year was, I felt like at the beginning of the year, was an anomaly for where he is in his career. Like, that type of jump was something like, okay, I could make an example. It's like Keontae George, where he was on the bench and he just turned into an all-star, like, this season. Like, I think we'll see something possibly similar. I don't think we'll see that high of numbers because those kind of numbers aren't sustainable. What he had, just because of the type of player he is, right? He's a guy that gets on base and flies. Yes, he has pop. Yes, he can hit the homers, but you want him on base. That's where his main threat is on base, right? So,
I mean, he needs to get better at plate discipline. That's his biggest.
That too. So
he's got to draw more walks because, like you said, he's a threat out there on the base pads. He's just got to get on the base pads.
Yeah, I mean, you can't walk to first. I mean, you can't not walk. You can't steal first. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I believe that we'll see something similar, but not to that extent of what he did in the first half last season. I'm not going to expect him to drop off completely, but I expect to see something closer to those numbers, but just a little below those numbers, because that wasn't, I mean, like I said, it wasn't sustainable. But if he does get anything of that caliber of player next year, then I think he wouldn't fall in the second half because of the adjustments that he has to make, and him having to deal with that while it happened. So I believe that he's making the adjustments now and he'll be ready to go. But I think that X factor for the Cubs is just Dansby Swanson, right? If you can get anything from him offensively, it just lengthens the lineup even more. That'll mean all 8 guys rather. Yeah, all 9 guys is something special. So I'd say the X factor is Dansby Swanson. Also, I want to say another X factor that would have to be is probably Moises Ballesteros. They're using him as the DH at the moment, and maybe flip him and Carson Kelly on at the moment, because it's you don't have a Bellinger, you don't have a Kyle Tucker to put at that DH spot to go back and forth with, to play the field and things like that. So when you strictly talk about a strict DH, you need Moises Ballesteros to come through. Like, I'm not saying have numbers like Kyle Tucker. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying something productive. Maybe like a 260, 15 home run season. That'd be productive. I mean, maybe 60, 70 RBIs from him because that's just who he is where he is in his career. And then maybe a good, at least a 700, 800 OPS, somewhere around there would be great. But because he's hits for extra bases. So, Moises Ballesteros and Dan is one of the X factors for me because you didn't want to go re-sign Kyle Tucker or you didn't sign Bellinger to go along with Bregman.
I mean, but I wouldn't sign Kyle Tucker for $60 million a year, even if it's a short-term deal. The Dodgers can do that because they're the Dodgers, and that's just what they do. But, after the way Tucker performed for you guys in the second half of last year, especially being his, team that he's going from, I could not justify giving him that much money.
Yeah, I can't either. I wouldn't give it to him either because of just because of where it's at, right? Because of what he did for you in the second half of the season. He didn't give you much, and you saw it firsthand. So I believe the Cubs made the right decision to not give him $60 million a year or for that kind of money. I mean, obviously, I thought Cody Bellinger re-signing would have been great to put at that DH spot and to throw him in right field, him and Seiya to go back and forth in right field, but they didn't do that. So I believe they're believing in Moises Ballesteros. So,
but even then, Bellinger's getting what, 165? Is he worth $35 million a year? I don't think he is.
Yeah. I think the Yankees gave him that amount of money because they were desperate to get someone. They had to get someone.
The Yankees, they haven't really done anything all offseason.
Yeah.
We saw the Mets; they've been making countless moves all offseason, especially in the last week or so. Dodgers have made moves. The bigger market teams, even the Phillies have made some moves. These guys are loading up.
Made a move too. That's
the Cubs are making moves. That's another one. They've been sitting on their hands a little bit, and I think Bellinger was their big quote-unquote move of the offseason, at least so far.
Yeah, so that's what I have. It's been I guess we don't need to really do an outro because it's just for one topic, but I will say that, ready for the season to start. Spring training will be here in the next couple of weeks. So pitchers and catchers report. I think 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks. So baseball season is here again.
NBA trade deadline's also coming up. Always a fun time.
Oh yeah, we'll probably, if we're not doing anything, hopefully we're not doing anything, we could probably have a live pod to watch the trade deadline special at the deadline. So we'll see what happens.
You probably know what I think Milwaukee should do at this point, but they're not going to because that's just not who they are. I think 34's he's got to find himself a new team. Every time I watch him, it just feels like he's not trying as hard as he used to. He just kind of feels checked out a little bit, and I've never seen that from him in his career. This team's going out and getting blown out by 20 points in the first quarter last night. That at home. Now, I understand it's the Thunder. The Thunder are very good. But you're at home, and the game's over already, 12 minutes in. And you have a top 4 player in the league on your team. That can't happen.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. It's just the Bucks are the Bucks, sadly. But that's where the crop of it goes. You have great years, and now I guess they're on the backslide of it.
You've had the chance to fire Doc Rivers multiple times throughout this season, and they've made it clear that they have no intention to do so. You lost to the Nets by 45 points. You've lost multiple other games by 30 points. We've had the perfect moment to fire him. It's just not, I've come to the conclusion that it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't. I don't think they should have fired. Budenholzer. That's where the biggest mistake was. Why even move on?
I could go on a 20-minute tangent about this, but I'll keep it short. It was the right decision, but they screwed up the next steps.
That is true. Well, we've come to the end of this weird kind of podcast thing that we had. We had to jump on and get our last topic in so we can actually get our baseball topic in. Yeah, I agree. Shouldn't have fired AJ Griffin. Uh, to go get Doc Rivers.
That's a whole,
that's a
like I
choice.
said, that's a whole can of worms I could tap into, but like, there's no point anymore.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
but it's been Shot of Sports. I think they're going to try to do a night pod tonight, I believe. We'll see if that plan pans out, but it'll be scheduled up there for them to do. But I won't be able to because we have a game tonight. So this has been Shot of Sports, and we'll probably see you Tuesday on our regular day for our next one, unless live with Nas is tomorrow.